everyone on this delightful evening at MADHack 3.0. I'm Amra Slamat, first year CS undergraduate. I'll be the mentor for today's session. Imagine a world where coding puzzles are like unsolved mysteries and you're on the verge of becoming a modern day code breaker. Tonight, let's draw inspiration from the incredible journey of Grace Hopper, a true pioneer in computer science. Have you ever encountered a coding bug that left you scratching your head? Grace Hopper faced a little bug when she was found a moth causing issues in a computer, coining the term bug. MADHack is not just an event, it is an opportunity to channel the spirit of innovation and problem solving. As we come together, envision your coding journey following the footsteps of Grace Hopper, embracing continuous learning, overcoming challenges. We, the IEEE student branch of the School of Computing at the University of Colombo, are thrilled to introduce MADHack 3.0 to you. This time, we bring you an enhanced and an unparalleled experience in the realm of mobile application development hackathons. Get ready for innovation, collaboration, and the excitement of MADHack 3.0. So, welcome to an evening filled with excitement and the thrill of hacking. May your coding adventures be as legendary as those who inspired us. And now, it is time to hear from our own chairperson, Mr. Ravindu Sasankar, a dynamic CS undergraduate at the University of Colombo School of Computing, and the esteemed chairperson of the IEEE student branch, a dedicated UI/UX enthusiast, bringing a creative flair to the intersection of the technology and design. Last but not the least, he is currently serving as a UX designer at Cloud8 Technologies. Mr. Ravindu, the virtual stage is yours. Over to you, Mr. Ravindu.
Thank you, Amra. I hope I'm audible and visible to everyone.
Yes, you are.
All right. So, hi guys. I'm Ravindu, the current chair of the IEEE student branch of UCSC. The powerhouse behind the MADHack event. So, before getting down to MADHack, let's talk a bit about where the magic actually happens, like the student branch. Well, IEEE for one, stands for Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, but honestly, it's a lot more than just that right now. I mean, I would say it spans over everything tech related. And the student branch is where we do our own fair share of IEEE kind of activities in uni. So what exactly does our student branch do? Yeah, this question was asked by a senior when I was in my first year. And my answer was, we organize hackathons, which is actually kind of true, but it's a lot more than that apparently. Back then I didn't know. Like I said, everything tech related goes through IEEE, which includes stuff like workshops, talk sessions, seminars, and also other tech events where we get to network with industry leads and experts and all kinds of people. And this community is all about learning and growing professionally and also having a good time while doing it. All right, well, getting down to MADHack 3.0. This was actually an event that came up in my first year of university. Well, MADHack 1 that was. And I was a bit oblivious to all the events back then because, I mean, it was all remote learning, virtual learning, and well, not a lot of things came our way physically. And I, for one, just spent half my time, well, all my time, either lectures or playing games. And therefore I missed the opportunity to take part in MADHack 1. But I did organize the second iteration, MADHack 2. And damn, that was something else. And because of all the positive feedback and all that we got, we decided to do it again, just as impulsively as last time, actually. So Well, this competition is actually for everyone and anyone interested, whether you're already a pro or whether you have never heard about mobile app development ever. And yeah, that's totally fine because we will be showing you the ropes with 3 workshops, and we have many mentors and experts, even in my batch as well, to support and inspire you through your hackathon journey. Right. Now to the question, why would you want to join MADHack? Let's start. Number one, bragging rights. Imagine winning this competition and probably becoming a very proud and popular creator of like the next big mobile app, the next Facebook or the next Spotify. And yeah, imagine it, your app changing lives. Actually, don't imagine it. Take the chance and live it. Well, number two, learning and growing. Like I said, IEEE is all about learning and growing, and MADHack is one of the best events to do that. Well, technically, and not everybody has to win at a hackathon, but your participation in the 2 rounds of competition and all 3 workshops will definitely count for something. And you might even discover a lot about yourself, like hidden talents or even passions. Maybe you want to go down the mobile app development path later on, right? And thirdly and lastly, the prices. I'm actually not sure how much this time and whatnot, but I can assure you that there will be a pot of gold at the end of this hunt, along with a few other perks as well. Well, I'm not going to take too much of this time. I'm going to get down to the next session. I think I've said enough. So you guys have your teams and your team names ready so that as soon as the registration link is up, you don't have to wait to sign up. And I'm pretty sure we have limited participants this time. So don't wait till the last moment to grab your spot, as it'll be a first come first services. So here's to coding and caffeine, and I will see you guys at the workshops and the final round. Well, back to you, Amra.
A big thanks to Mr. Ravindo for igniting the energy in our session with his infectious enthusiasm. Well, now I would like to keep a question in front of you guys. What is MADHack? As captivating as its name, MADHack brings a unique and awe-inspiring sense. In the realm of hackathons, mobile application development stands out, and being the pioneer in hosting the very first mobile application development hackathon in Sri Lanka is a distinction that solely belongs to IEEE student branch of UCSC. And now, meanwhile, I would like to give you a brief idea about the workshop of MADHack 3.0. On January 6th, that means today, now we are present here, we are having the awareness session virtually. On January 10th, we will be having the app designing session that would be also virtual. On January 21st, we will be conducting a Flutter session, which is basics of Flutter. That would be physical. On January 25th, the Flutter session would be continued, but it would be a bit advanced. That would also be physical. And January 28th, the closing initial round submissions. February 1st, announcement of finalists. We will be announcing the finalists. February 3rd and February 4th, we will be having our 24 hours final hackathon along with the award ceremony. Hope it was clear. And now, allow me to introduce Mr. Nipun Chamikara Weerasiri, a talented individual currently serving as an engineering intern at H2O.ai. He is pursuing a computer science degree at the University of Colombo School of Computing and is recognized as a skilled developer with a passion of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. Before I hand over the session, I would like to remind you guys that a link will be provided in the chat box now to post the questions in that throughout the session. Mr. Nipun, the spotlight is on you. Over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I hope I am audible. Uh,
You are.
okay, cool. So wait, let me just share my screen. Uh, okay. So I hope my screen is also visible. Okay. Yeah. So hi everyone. I would like to welcome everyone here to this awareness session. So yeah, hi. So it's untitled because I really couldn't think of a title for this presentation. So because it's going to be like an amalgamation of different things that I want to talk about. So yeah, I just left it like that. So I think. Amra has given a really good introduction, so I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to add that I have some experience, developing backend applications, web applications, and also mobile applications. So one of the mobile applications that I was involved in developing was called Audifix, which is it's like a mobile app that is catered to individuals with auditory processing disorder. And it has been successful. It has won a few allocates, and I think one of the biggest reasons for this was actually because it was a mobile app. A mobile app can do so many things that a desktop app simply cannot, right? Because it has access to the hardware, and like there's so many complicated things that it can do that desktop apps and sometimes even web apps, they are actually not capable of doing. And I'm going to talk about this and many other things during like in due course of this talk. So so I think I shared a link to Mentimeter. Wait, let me. So actually go back to that. I think yeah. So I would like you all to join the link, and I actually have a question for you there. So give me 1 second. Oh wait, why is the Mentimeter? Is the link working? Give me 1 second. I'm really sorry. Uh, Let me see what's going on here. Cool.
It is working from my end.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool, cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I will. So we'll wait for a few minutes for you guys to sort of log in to go to the link, and then answer the question. So you can put anything that you like. Okay. So what what do you hear? Like, so what comes to your mind when you hear the words mobile application development? So actually, let me share. So we only got two responses. So I would like to recommend you guys to join the link, and then while you guys are responding, let me try to fix this. Can't seem to. Okay. No. Yeah, this is so pain to work with needs. Sorry. Mm, okay, I don't think I'm sharing my screen, right? So okay, but I think you guys can see the results in your screens, right? Actually, let me share the screen. Let me try to share my screen. Where's the button? Okay, share. Okay, where was I? Yeah, okay. So I can see we're getting some responses, and then side by side. Yeah, React Native, mobile app, so lots of Flutter. So I can see the Flutter is super popular. Uh, some put some names. Maybe people who are like really good in mobile application development. So like the Dart. Okay, someone wrote Audifix. Okay, I'm flattered. Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. Uh, so yeah. So I think you guys obviously are very familiar with mobile application development, right? And I think we'll move on to the next question actually. So I actually wanted to sort of gauge our audience here, right? In terms of how much experience do you have with mobile application development. So we'll actually go on to the next slide. Okay. So how experienced are you with mobile application development? So you can rate yourselves from being a novice, you're just starting out, or you haven't started yet, but you're planning on starting. So that's you can be a novice. You can be an intermediate. So I would consider myself to be an intermediate. I'm not good, but also I'm not, super new to this. But if you are, yeah, we have a god here, so that's that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, so we have two gods, three gods. Okay, this is a little concerning. I hope the three of them are not going to be in one team. Okay, so because that's going to be that's going to be a little boring, right? So we need some. Okay, yeah. So lots of novices. That's fine. Okay, that's totally fine. Because we are all here to learn, right? We are all here to learn. So we'll actually move back to the presentation. Present. Okay, so the same, yeah. So it's cool. So we have a wide variety of different people who have different experiences with mobile application development. So over the past few years, you may have heard about things being thrown around, right? So, AI, virtual assistants, large language models, things like that, right? So you hear about these in the news, but then you don't really hear about mobile application development, right? So what is it irrelevant? Is it like why are we doing this, right? Why can't we organize AI hackathon or something like that? Like why mobile? So let's go back to those terms that I mentioned, right? So if you're going to use things like Siri or Google Assistant, where do you use them? On a mobile phone. If it's ChatGPT, if not on a computer, you would use them on a mobile phone. You would make an app and you would use them on your phone. Also, if we're going to talk about virtual reality, I think there was a few years back, there used to be these headsets where you can slide in your mobile phone and then use that to interact with a virtual environment. So mobile phones, you know, they serve as an enabler to use these cool features and services, things that you may not be able to do on a computer, right? And also now, if you see like with Apple's A17 Bionic, they're getting really powerful. Like uh, your your smartphone is becoming as powerful as your desktop computer. Like that is crazy. And so because of that, it opens up new pathways into building these really complicated apps that you can use on your phone. So that's why mobile application development is a super cool field and super underrated. And then I guess we'll move on to our next question in the Mentimeter. I hope it goes to the next question. So what do you actually prefer? So when you're doing your day-to-day tasks, would you use your mobile phone or would you use your PC? So also I did include tablets because I think there might be like 5 people in the world who use tablets for their day-to-day tasks. So if you're one of them, uh, you could pick that. So yeah, 16 to 7, so 16 people taking mobile phones, 7 people have taken PC. That is growing. Yeah, yeah. So day-to-day tasks, I mean, I don't mean coding stuff. Like you can't code on a mobile phone, but I mean like checking your calendar, checking your emails, messaging your friends, things like that. So yeah, so there's a huge number of people who prefer the mobile phone over their laptops or PCs, which makes sense. It's very convenient to use. It's very easy to. Okay, I did not mean to press the escape button. Sorry. Yeah, it's very convenient and easy to use. So this is why using so this is why like mobile apps, they provide this unparalleled convenience and ease of use. So it provides a more immersive and accessible experience. So the ubiquity of mobile phones make them a preferred choice for many users. I do have one more question. It's like kind of like a quiz, but what do you think is the market share for mobile phones in Asia? So in the Asia Pacific region, what percentage of people have a mobile phone, compared to a desktop PC or, a laptop or a tablet, right? Okay, a lot of people said 85%. Some was 70. Okay. Yeah, so an overwhelming amount of people say that 85% of people in South Asia, they would have a mobile phone over a desktop PC. Okay, so this is kind of an over exaggeration actually. So it's actually around 70%. So these are the trends over the last year. So around 70% of people actually have a mobile phone over a desktop computer and a tablet. And so as you can see, because there's so many people using mobile phones, um, you know, there's like a huge preference for mobile phone, right? So there's a large number of mobile phone users, and they're switching to mobile commerce, where they're doing messaging, all that stuff on their phones, right? So because of the portability and the multifunctionality of these smartphones. So this is why mobile application development is so important, because you can actually cater to a large audience, that you cannot reach with just a desktop or a laptop, a desktop or laptop application. So this is why, like mobile apps can reach a greater like amount of people than laptops and desktops combined. So this is why, doing mobile application development is super lucrative these days. So how do you get started, right? Like how do you start with developing mobile apps? So there are actually two routes, I could say. So one is you could go low level. So by low level, I mean, you're going to use languages like Java or Kotlin if you're using Android, or Objective-C and Swift if you're doing iOS, to build your mobile applications. This actually has a very steep learning curve. So it's actually pretty difficult for a beginner to start off with doing low level applications, because there's a lot of things that you should keep in mind when you're building these apps. However, it gives you so much control and customizability, and because they're low level, they don't have that much abstraction. They have really good performance, and they can make complicated applications like games, for example, that needs really good performance and low latency. So if you're not a fan of that, or maybe if your needs are different, if you don't mind the latency, but you want to make an application as quickly as possible for as many platforms as possible, then you could go for hybrid. So hybrid apps use frameworks like React Native. So React Native is written like you can use JavaScript or TypeScript for React Native, or if you're using Flutter, which is actually quite popular according to that word cloud, right? So Flutter uses Dart, I think. So these allow you to, just write once. You just write the code once, and it's going to run on most platforms. So if you write the code just once, it's going to work on your iPhone, it's going to work on your Android phone, right? You don't have to worry about, making two separate apps if you're going to go for the low level code. So here you can write just one code base. You can just have one code base, but make it work for both platforms. So, but then because there's certain abstraction, there's certain things, layers that are built, so it's going to be slightly slower. It's going to be, not as performant as a native app, but it's going to make development a lot easier. So there's going to be, some flip sides to, you choosing one over the other. So depending on your requirements, you can sort of decide, right? So to the next question, go on to the next question. Okay, so if you have done mobile application development, or if you're planning on doing it, so what would you use, right? So what do you plan on using, or what do you plan on learning? Yeah, so I'm not sharing the screen because it's very difficult to move between them. But yeah, in the poll, there's a lot of people who are actually leaning towards the hybrid apps, right? Flutter and React Native, which makes sense. If you're a beginner, I would actually recommend starting with those because it makes your life so much easier. You don't have to worry about, those low level stuff. It handles a lot of things for you. So yeah, so that this makes sense, right? Yeah, only a few people want to try native, which is fine because it is a pain. So the app that I built called again Audifix, right? That was actually a native app, and I was actually quite new to this sort of mobile application development, and it was a huge pain. It was like also because it was Java, and Java was something that I was not very familiar with. It was a really steep learning curve, but it offered a lot of flexibility and performance benefits because it allowed me to run a model on the device itself to convert the speech to text, and also it had really low latency, so it could play back audio in real time. So but again, it depends, right? It depends on your needs. It depends on your use case, on whether you want performance or whether you want flexibility. So yeah, let's talk about the future, right? The future of mobile apps, of mobile application development. So um, there have been many impressive developments with companies when they try to run more complex models on the mobile phone. So like how mobile, like so uh, you must have heard of generative AI, right? So now there have been many developments where they're trying to run these models on the phone itself rather than having it on a cloud and then you call it, right? And then there are many other companies like Samsung and Apple who are trying to run LLMs, trying to run AI apps on the mobile phone itself. And this means that mobile apps are going to be so much more powerful, and they are able to leverage so much technology in the future. So this is why, like, doing mobile application development is going to be super cool because you'll be able to use so many new tools in your toolkit to build really good applications. Okay, so why participate? I think Randu has actually answered this question, right? So he explained about the learning experience and everything, and I agree, right? So I've been to many hackathons, and I realized that because of these hackathons, like, so I'm a deadline oriented person, right? If it weren't for these hackathons, I wouldn't actually commit to learning. Like, I wouldn't bother learning the stuff that I wouldn't have, like, so because of these hackathons, I would actually learn them, and then implement them in the hackathons themselves. So if you're actually interested in mobile application development, and if you actually participate in MADHack, it'll actually push you to learn, to experiment, and to build stuff that will make you proud, right? So I think last year's runners-up, who's actually going to they're going to be speaking today. They actually did not know anything about mobile application development. Once they joined the hackathon, they learned, they experimented, they participated, and they went on to get second place, right? So which is really cool. So, and that could be you guys too, right? You could get in first place even. So that's why I'm actually excited to see what you guys are going to build in the future. So yeah, that's about it from my end. Hacking.
Thank you for those wonderful words. I kindly request your continued presence to address any inquiries that may arise from the participants. Your assistance in responding to their questions would be greatly appreciated. Participants, this is your time to ask whatever the questions you want to from our speaker of the day. Great, we have got 13 of questions from the form we had provided. So I'll list them down one by one. Hope you can answer them.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Do I have to use a specific programming language or framework?
Yeah, so that depends on different platforms. For different platforms, you'll have to use a specific programming language. So if you're going to use like React Native, then yeah, you'll have to use JavaScript or TypeScript, right? So yeah, it depends on the platform, or it depends on the framework that you're using. So yeah, hope that answered your question. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I use both iOS and Android platforms for my app?
Yes. So if you're going to go towards the hybrid approach of using frameworks like Flutter or React Native, then yeah, those frameworks allow you to build Android and iOS apps at once. So it's the same code. The same code would work on both. So there might be some nuances with regards to some differences in the way they are implemented for each, but for the most part, they are going to work perfectly fine on both. So native apps, you won't get that luxury. So that's only possible on hybrid. Yeah.
The third one, are there any restrictions on the use of external libraries or APIs?
Okay, so I think this is with regards to the app, to the competition, right? To the hackathon. So those, like the rules of those, will be announced in due course. So I actually do not have any idea of those right now, but they will be announced when the round commences.
The fourth one, is it necessary to have a working prototype by the end of the hackathon? Or
Yeah, so this is again with regards to the hackathon itself. I think in the I think you will need to have a working app by the end, because after all, this is a mobile application development hackathon. But it depends on the round. So I think so. They will share the details on what they expect from each round. So I would suggest you guys keep your eyes peeled for those. Yeah.
And this is, I think, how do I choose the right technology stack for my app?
Yeah, so that again depends. So depends on what do you want to prioritize, right? If you want to make something that's super performant, that you want the maximum performance, you want the lowest latency, you don't want any lags, you want to be able to customize it as much as you want, things like that, then you would most likely be better off making a native app, because that's going to allow you to even write low level things. So like if you talk about Android native, it allows you to even write C++ code, like using the native development kit, which is like really, really fast. But yeah, it depends. But if you want to make a generic app, maybe a general purpose app that is suited for a wider audience, things like maybe a to-do app or things like that, that doesn't necessarily need the performance, but more of the portability to work with multiple platforms, then you can use a stack like React Native or Flutter. There are some pros and cons on which one is better, which one is worse. I'm not the expert for that. You'll have to check online, do your research, and yeah. So again, it depends.
I think that's it. The questions, because rest of the questions are related to the hackathon.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think we can answer them end of this session. So thank you very much, Mr. Nipun. It was so great having you here as our speaker for today. In this moment, we would love to present our valued speaker a token of our appreciation. Indeed, it is an honor to have shared the presence with you. Mr. Nipun, we are very much obliged. Please accept this virtual token on behalf of the MADHack Organizing Committee.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Now, we are pleased to announce that the moment has arrived to extend our invitation to the runners-up of MADHack 2.0, the team Daily Debuggers, who will now have the opportunity to share their valuable experiences with all of you. Mr. Tevindu Kolasinga is here to represent his team Daily Debuggers. Mr. Tevindu, over to you.
Hi. So first of all, thank you for having me, and congratulations and good luck with MADHack 2.0. Yeah. So regarding my experience in MADHack, first of all, so as I was saying, I had Charit Jaranga and myself and Dashinavin and Nikamad Mantrasingh with me for MADHack 2.0. We did basic some sort of university attendance system, which as I recall, React Native. So basically that's my theme. And regarding my experience on MADHack, MADHack is one of the best conducted by the IEEE student body of UCC. I was there from the very beginning of the MADHack journey, from MADHack 1.0. There are two things actually I wanted to share with you guys. One thing is the participation for these workshops. So as Nipun mentioned, before this, I basically didn't have any clue about mobile development, and I have never, not even installed, I have never downloaded this Android Studio before in my life. So after the workshop, the speakers were really good, and we were getting to the basically to React Native and stuff. Even though native apps are very focused on performance, but personally, my understanding is it's very hard to develop a good native application using Kotlin and Swift. So that's why we went with React Native and Flutter. So based on those two, I wanted to try React Native because we were already familiar with React and JavaScript languages. So learning something new and coming up with a solution for hackathon is really it's very hard to do that because we don't know shit about the language. But since we already had the understanding of React, we decided to go with React Native. So that's why we had this hybrid approach. So again, the workshops are really good. The React Native one was really a good starting point for a beginner. So as I said again, for this we never even touched Android Studio. So I know for a fact that these workshops are really in a good quality. So speaking about the competition night, we had not a physical one. We had basically an online workshop, hackathon. So the organizing team was there for the entire night. We had great technical mentors, Andul and Nipun. Yeah, so basically the organizing committee helped us when we had any doubts because they were the whole night. Again, I wanted to give a special shout out to our technical mentors, Andul and Nipun Weerasiri. They're comprehensive, right? They had a really good backend for the mobile app that we developed. It was one of the best I have seen so far. Like one major success I saw in MADHack 2.0 was this platform that they had for the testing and the backend. Again, another point I wanted to point out is having a good team, having a reliable people in your team, not just a bunch of people who are really good at coding, but people who are reliable. Like you might think that for a hackathon you need really a top-notch people for coding, who knows coding and all, but actually what you need is people who are reliable. Let's say what if someone decided not to code or just to sleep. So that's why you need very reliable people for hackathons. Sorry, I had really reliable people in my team. So again, another shout out to Nipun Chamikara and Naveen. They were with me from our zero. So having good and reliable people is one of the key components that any hackathon team needs. So what are the challenges we face? One thing that we really lack was time management. So you have to make sure that you have planned for everything and you have time for that every action that you are going to take. So basically we forgot that we had to do a presentation. So we developed the app for the whole night and basically forgot to do the presentation in the morning. So that's why I wanted to mention that you need to have good time management skills and you have to have a plan that what you are going to do. Also, make sure you have really good, really good regular commits that there will be merge conflicts and all. Your code might break, or the feature that your friend pushed is not up to the standard, or it might break the whole application. So make sure you have regular commits that so you can roll back to your previous version. Again, as I said, merge conflicts are inevitable, so plan for that. You always make sure that you have a backup system that you can run or show to the judges so that you might not lose the entire thing. Make sure that you always have a presentation. We forgot to do our presentation. I had to do that in like 10 or 5 minutes. We had to come up with the presentation slides. So, as Nipun said, make sure that technology that you are using, you're familiar with that. So, this was our very first mobile application that before this, none of us had any real experience with mobile application development. So that's one drawback we had from the very beginning of the competition, but somehow we managed to complete the application. We used React Native because of that, because we knew React and the JavaScript framework, sorry, JavaScript ecosystem. So that's why we went at React Native. Again, if you are not familiar with the technology, I would say don't use that, because it takes time to really get a really good understanding on how the things work in a programming language. Like, let's say Java is object-oriented language, but let's say F#, you might have heard of F#, but it's not a sort of object-oriented language. So yeah, make sure you know the technology before you start coding. So anything I need to add before I go is okay. So what participants should focus on before you build something or before you code something, think through it, brainstorm with your team. Make sure that your application addresses good business problem, I might add. So make sure that you brainstorm through it, think through your project and what the idea behind this code is. That's something most of the hackathon teams do not think, I would say. The thing is whenever, almost of us can code, right? Like, since I guess most of you are second year or third year students, so most of us can code. But make sure your application addresses a real world problem. That's like software engineering is just a support tool that other industries might use to solve their problems. So in the presentation, what you need to present is not your application, but what you solve in the real world. You might have heard of this, the golden circle principle by Simeon Sonic, that tells us how we decide, how actually, what is I understand, what he is to say is saying on how the companies actually advertise their product. So what he says that most of the good companies addresses the why component of the application, like why they do that. So your presentation should tell on what your real world business application solves. So yeah, I don't know whether you understand it or not, but you need to solve some real world problem. Yeah, before doing the application, make sure you have right tools with you, and make sure you have a good understanding about what the technologies you are going to use. From my personal experience, for my undergraduate from CSC, for my group project, I had to change my technology stack from Android native to Flutter. Basically, we developed the application for 3 months using Android SDK. Then we switched back to Flutter for last 3 months, which means we basically we are done with the 6-month semester. For in 6 hours, I had to come up with an application using React Native. So yeah, make sure you have a good understanding and you are 100% sure that you are going to use this language or framework. Also have a plan and have regular commits to the version control system. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Before the hackathons, get familiarized with the mobile application development techniques and your presentations. Yeah, that's from my side. Anything to add? Or yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tevindo. We would like to express our heartfelt appreciation and present a token of recognition to the runners-up of MADHack 2.0 daily debuggers for their outstanding achievements and contributions. Thank you for your dedication and exemplary performance in the last year's hackathon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, if I may, we kindly ask all the participants to join us in capturing a memorable moment together. Let's take a group snapshot. Please turn on your cameras and flash those cool smiles. Feel free to utilize the virtual background available in the chat box. The virtual background link is already given. Please be kind enough to download them and add them, participants.
I'll just give you a couple of minutes to turn on the cameras.
Guys, feel free to switch on your cameras. It's going to be fun, memorable moment.
In the count of three, I'll take the screen. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Amla.
Thank you, everyone. And now we have reached to the Q&A session. Feel free to unmute your mic and pose any question related to MADHack 3.0. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can type your questions in the chat box. We are here to provide any information or clarification you might need. The link is in the chat box, so you can log into it and ask your questions regarding MADHack 3.0. We are here to help you. Or else you can unmute and ask it directly. Since we are running out of time, I would like to tell you all, if you all have any questions, you all may shoot them using the link we have provided you in the chat box. We will definitely answer all the questions. No worries. With that, we have almost reached the end of this session. We hope you got the maximum out of it and cleared all your doubts. Before I leave, I would like to remind you certain announcements. We will be opening the registration for the next session in few hours. Register at your earliest to the workshop coming ahead. That is the front-end development part of mobile application. And again, thank you to all the participants for joining us today and who have stayed with us until the end. You have made this session a success. Again, a kindly reminder to you to add your precious feedbacks through the form, which we will provide both in the WhatsApp group and the chat box. And we are looking forward to see all of you in the next session. Until then, have a great time. Goodbye.